My name is Anthony Stevens. I am a painter, portrait painter from Melbourne, Victoria. And yeah, I got into painting as a form of therapy. I went through some mental health challenges when I was sort of 16 through 18, which ended up with a pretty severe attempted suicide. Ran in front of a car and basically ruined my body, and didn't tell anybody about it for a very long time that it was intentional. And so basically my family and all my friends thought it was an accident for a very long time. In that time, I realized that I need to get some help. So I went and saw a psychologist who said, is there anything that you love? What do you want to be doing with your life? Like, how are you feeling? A really great psychologist. And I just said, probably or three times that I feel the most relaxed and confident and comfortable are when I'm playing football, when I'm out fishing, and I've tried some painting and I really enjoyed that as well. She said, well, maybe that could be a really good release for you if you want to, take painting, use that as a form of therapy and try to just give that a crack. You can take a photo or something and show it to somebody, and you're always limited by the technicality of the camera, or like the specs of the camera that you're shooting with, the dynamic range of the camera that you're shooting with. And with painting, you can literally say, this is what I saw in the shadow, this is what I saw in the brightest light, here you go, have a look at it. And somebody will understand it if you communicate to them properly with your painting. Somebody will be able to understand that feeling that you're having. It's really nice. I find it really lovely. I think it's a nice thing. I make a really specific kind of painting that I want to see on my walls, and I don't think that necessarily not everybody's buying art to go on their walls necessarily. It's like you might be buying a piece of art because you like the name of it, or for me, I kind of go, why wouldn't you just buy something that you find interesting that you would love to see every day? Not like buying something as like necessarily an investment piece. Or to me, again, like I see from my perspective, art is a money pit, because I am the one spending the money. Like I'm not kind of going, oh yeah, like I'm doing this to make $1 million. I'm doing this because I fucking love it. This art, like this kind of stuff for me, is like very, very easy to misunderstand, and it's not for everybody. But in the same breath, like you can say that like a lot of abstract art is the same, and art can have many different reasons for being made, and art can be sort of spoken about in a lot of different ways. And the art that I make is representational art. It's like I'm making this to represent something that I'm feeling, that I'm thinking, that I'm experiencing. And so my goal with my art is to communicate that feeling, that experience as clearly as I can. And if somebody looks at my paintings and goes, oh yeah, that's a beautiful thing, then I've done my job. Because there's little surprises that you get when you're painting, you're mixing colors and things just kind of happen on the palette, and you go, oh, that's a shock. Essentially all I'm doing is flinging mud around, like it's just mud in oil. So the idea that like one of these colors can just like mix with something else, and it's a surprise and it's a beautiful thing, and I can just quickly put that in its correct spot on a canvas, like that's a cool thing. I'd like to think that if people saw the work that I kind of make, they have some sense of who I am to a point. I'm a careful person. I'm pretty meticulous in the way I approach things. I guess I paint, honestly, like if I boiled it down as far as I could go, like it's a response to my own reflection on mortality. Like I guess that's a really easy way to boil it down. It's like I look at these as something that will, number one, hopefully outlive me. As long as there's no big fire in this house, in this room right now, like they'll outlive me. I am able to capture, hopefully, again, thoughts, feelings, and emotions that I'm having today, right now. And the thought of somebody, probably a child of a child of a child of mine, I'm hoping, they might look at something that I've made in 100 years' time. They're looking back on something that I was feeling 100 years ago and going, oh fuck, like that's interesting, and it helps them in some way. Like that's an interesting thing to me. So I guess it's a pure response to like, me thinking about my own mortality and making something that not necessarily is a legacy that I'm leaving behind, but It's just like, these are all parts of me, and I guess this is something that I'm going to be able to leave behind. If I started painting because I needed something to help me keep living, like maybe painting is something that helps me living on after I've sort of gone. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. I've never thought about that.